Sabhaya Namaha. Our Indian tradition and culture is worthwhile because of the great seers like Ramanuja, Adi Shankara, Madhvacharya. Because these three Matacharyas, these three are called Trimatacharya, they established a kind of philosophy of our Indian tradition and culture, the form of Advaita by Adi Shankaracharya, Visishtadvaita by Sri Ramanujacharya, Dvaita by Madhvacharya. These three philosophies are giving a lot of information about God and principles of our dharma and traditions of our Indian culture and civilization. In this way, we can get a lot of philosophical thoughts in view of Dvaita, especially by Acharya Madhva. Madhvacharya is one of the greatest seer in Indian tradition and culture who was born in Karnataka. In his lifetime, he established 8 mathas in Udupi. His Siddhanta was called as Dvaita. In this way, in India, our ancient seers brought our religious rites into limelight through proving the philosophies of various sects and traditions. These sects are entirely based on our cultural aspects. Unless we know our culture and tradition or our philosophy, which is recognized by the world with entire respect and honor, we can't come to conclusion of the greatness of our ancient seers like Adi Shankara, Ramanuja and Madhvacharya. My intention is that we have to know each and every philosophy of Trimatacharya. It may be Advaita. Advaita says God is one, there is no other. Visishtadvaita stressed by Ramanuja. He emphasized much on Sharanagati Tattva. When we come to Dvaita philosophy, Madhvacharya says God is different and human beings different. Jivatma is different from Paramatma. So, what are the contradictions expressed by the people will give conclusion when we understand the philosophy of the Trimathacharyas. Today, I bring your notice that Madhvacharya's Dvaita philosophy and the life history of Madhvacharya, who brought our culture and tradition into limelight. Though he was born in an ordinary family, but he brought everyone into a rich life. Such Acharya Madhva should be known by each and everyone through this video. That's why today I chose the topic of Madhvacharya and his philosophy of Dvaita, which enables us to understand the values of our Indian culture and tradition. Let us start with prayer. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Madhvacharya was born in 1238 AD at Brahmin family in Karnataka state. His father's name was Madhyageha Bhatta and mother Vedavati, and the family followed the Vaishnavite Brahmin traditions. At first, he was named as Vasudeva, later famous as Purna Prajna, and finally remained as Madhvacharya. At the early stage of 7, his parents celebrated Upanayam and became a monk in his teenage itself. He was very much interested in reading the Hindu epics and wanted to know the concepts of Hindu Upanishads. So he went to Dwaraka in Gujarat and accepted Chuta Preksha as his guru. Under the guidance of Chuta Preksha, he studied the Advaita literature and also Upanishads. However, he did not convince the dual principles and philosophy of God and human soul are same. He argued frequently with his guru on the concept of non-dualism, Advaita. Then he taught himself to found a new path which was an ideal for this society. So he left the monastery and started the Dvaita movements, and the main concept of God and human soul was different. Later, the movement became a strong and administrable philosophy in the Bhakti movement. So we can confirm say the founder of Dvaita philosophy by Madhvacharya. How? He founded a Dvaita school of Vedanta and called the philosophy of Tattvavada. Acharya studied the Hindu philosophy thoroughly and wrote his ideas with different aspects. He also deeply studied the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Brahma Sutras. His analysis on the holy books written in the Sanskrit language as 37 books. These 37 books are famous as Anuvyakhyana, which was composed in poetic version. His devotees believe him. He was incarnation of Vedavyasa. Influence on Bhakti movement. His ideas were different to Adi Shankara's Advaita philosophy. Ramanuja philosophy also different to the concept of Madhvacharya. The monk Madhvacharya traveled through India several times to evaluate the philosophy of Dvaita Vedanta. During his journey, he visited Hindu holy places like Kashi, Benad, etc., Prayag, etc. And also he visited Hindu learning centers to debate with the philosophers. In 1285 AD, he established the Krishna Mutt at Udupi with the Murti of Lord Krishna. He influenced the Bhakti movement with the concept of Visishtadvaita. His Dvaita Vedanta, one of the strongly influenced philosophy of the other two philosophy of Adi Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya's philosophy. His disciples Jayatirtha, Vadiraja Tirtha, Raghavendra Tirtha and Vyasa Tirtha have spread the philosophy of Dvaita Vedanta. What is there in philosophy of Dvaita Vedanta? Let us see. Madhvacharya established Ashtamathas in Udupi, mean 8 mutts. He established mathas in various places in Udupi. Another 24 mathas are established throughout India. These mathas surrounded by the Hindu temple. Ananteshwara Krishna, who was looking at the temple's construction, etc. The temples constructed on a square grid pattern. The monks in the temple learned Paryaya systems introduced by Madhvacharya. The monks follow the sannyasa system and give the preachers the principles of Dvaita one. The main pontiff of the ashrams leads Krishna prayers daily according to the tradition of Madhva philosophy. And all monasteries follow the tradition and rituals which were written by Madhvacharya in Tantra Sara. In the monasteries, the monks serve the food to all the visitors, pilgrims, and starving people without any discrimination. Mean any difference of caste and creed or religion, etc. All his literary works guided to the followers of Dvaita philosophy, and he was left his last breath in 1317 AD in Udupi. Still, his thoughts and philosophical principles influencing the path of the Vaishnava Bhakti. His role in establishing Dvaita is peculiar. During this period, the Advaita school of Sri Shankara dominated Indian thoughts and teachings. It had been in existence for centuries, and most religious institutions and schools followed his philosophy. But Madhvacharya was never satisfied with the non-dualistic interpretations of the scriptures. He had always wanted to challenge them, even from childhood. His knowledge and intellect were such that he defeated many scholars belonging to the faiths. Some of the scholars whom he defeated became his disciples. One of them, Narahari Tirtha, he who gave Madhvacharya an ancient ideal of Sri Rama. This was the famous Moola Rama of the Raghavendra Swami Math. Madhvacharya's commentaries and other works we have to know. Madhvacharya wrote commentaries on several important Hindu holy texts, including the Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra. These commentaries are brilliant dualistic interpretations to the same works of the Shankara had seen, stressing on Advaita. He wrote various texts that detailed his philosophy, which he called Tattvartha, or as it is more popularly known, Dvaita. Some of his works were the Gita Bhashya, Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Anubhashya, Karma Nirnaya, and Vishnu Tattva Nirnaya. Moreover, we have to understand his contributions to Udupi. How? Sri Madhvacharya was born in the Udupi and he was educated in Math associated with Ananteshwara temple. Udupi is now famous for the beautiful Krishna temple, and it was Madhvacharya who established this temple. There is an interesting story as to how he got the Krishna idol. This is the most important. We have to know how he. Before that, let us understand his philosophy, then only we can come to that. The basic tenet of Dvaita philosophy is a refutation of the Madhvacharya Mayavada of Sri Shankara. Dvaita emphasizes that the world is real and not just an illusion. Some of Sri Madhvacharya's teachings fall along these lines. What are they? The soul is bound to this world through ignorance. Another. The way of the soul to release itself from the bondage is to seek the grace of Lord Sriman Narayana. Another. To reach Srihari, one has to practice bhakti. There is no other way. Another. To practice bhakti, one needs to meditate. Another. To meditate, one needs to clear mind. pure mind, and attain detachment by studying the sacred texts. Finally, he concludes, understanding the sacred text can be possible only through the grace of Guru. Madhvacharya was a social and religious reformer who declared that the path of salvation was open to all and was not limited by birth. His teachings attracted many followers and received Bhagavat or Bhakti traditions in Karnataka. Sri Madhvacharya's 9 teachings. What are they? Bhagavan Sri Krishna alone in the supreme absolute truth, one without a second. Another, mean two. He is the object of knowledge in all the Vedas. 3. The universe is real, Satya. 4. The differences between Ishvara, Jiva, and matter are real. 6. Jiva souls are by nature the servants of the Supreme Lord Hari. 7. There are 2 categories of Jivas, liberated and illusioned. 8. Liberation means moksha, attaining the lotus feet of Bhagavan Krishna. In other words, entering an eternal relationship of the service to the Supreme God. Last, pure devotion service to Krishna is the only way to attain these liberations. The truth may be known by pratyaksha, mean direct perception, anumana, inference of logic, shabda, spiritual sounds, or Vedic authority. We have to see that how his teachings inspired the people. So, teachings of Madhvacharya is like this. We present here a gist of the divine teachings of Sri Madhvacharya. 1. The soul is bound in the samsara and experiences sorrow because of its ignorance. Escape from all his sorrows is achievable only by the grace of Lord Vishnu. 3. The benevolence of Bhagavan Vishnu, which was the primary cause for liberation, can only be achieved by bhakti. Vishnu will be pleased only by bhakti. Vishnu will be impressed by any other means also. 4. Bhakti is the incessant flow of love, which greatly supersedes all other objects such as oneself, one's relatives, etc., and which does not receive in spite of thousands of obstacles, and which is coupled with the knowledge that Bhagavan Vishnu possesses unrestrained, infinite blamelessness, auspicious attributes. 5th, true or parabhakti will not develop until Bhagavan Vishnu is seen. 6. Bhagavan Vishnu, who is obscure by nature, cannot be seen by any means except through his blessings. 7. The blessings of Bhagavan Vishnu, which is the only means of his vision, is not possible without meditating upon his blemishless suitable form for a long duration with utmost respect and also continuity. 8. Meditation is not possible until one undertakes a self-study of the textual instructions received from a qualified guru. Otherwise, one would not be free from doubt and wrong knowledge. 9. Therefore, self-study after receiving spiritual instructions from a qualified guru is to be taken up as it is a means to liberation through meditation and God's grace. Sri Madhvacharya, who was born in the year 13 AD, named as Vasudeva during the Namakarana ceremony, according to Dvaita tradition, Madhva was an incarnation of Mukhya Prana. Same as Hiranyagarbha, also known as Vayu and Sutratman, an emanation of Lord Vishnu. Not even had Vasudeva attained his teens when he had the urge to take the holy orders and took the sannyasa diksha from a monastery, Achyuta Preksha. Kare, at Kare, near the modern town of Udupi. He was given the new name Purna Prajna. Achyuta Preksha was brought up in the then current Advaita Vedanta school of thought according to the famous work Ishta Siddhi of Vimuktatman. However, the philosophy of this school did not appeal to new sannyasi. Achyuta Preksha, though displeased with the mutual differences, was impressed with the earnestness, sharp memory, remarkable scholarship of his disciple, gave him another name as Ananda Tirtha, and also made him the pontiff of his monastery. Madhva or Madhvacharya seems to be a synonym of his real name. However, it is by this name that he is more commonly and popularly known by everyone. Madhva began to preach his own philosophy according to which the world is real and the individuals who are different from Brahman and Vishnu is the highest entity in the universe. Madhvacharya advocated dualism and realism. His philosophy accepts Pancha Vedas or five kinds of Vedas mean differences, which was real and permanent. What are they? They are God is different from the Jiva, mean souls. He is also different from Jada, insentient nature, mean Prakriti. The various Jivas are different from one another. The Jivas are different from the Jada. The various objects which are Jada are also different from one another. He accepts God, called Narayana or Vishnu or Srihari, as supreme reality and the others as dependent realities. Mukti, which is regaining one's blissful nature, can be got only through bhakti or devotion to God. Many scholars of other schools of philosophy debated with Madhvacharya but were defeated by him and converted to his own views. To propagate his faith, he undertook a pilgrimage to various shrines in South India and also utilized this opportunity for spreading his views on the basic text of Vedanta. Immediately after his return from the pilgrimage, he wrote the commentary on Bhagavad Gita. The Gita Bhashya, means commentary on Bhagavad Gita, is the first work of the Acharya. Madhvacharya next made a pilgrimage to North India when he is said to have visited the famous place of Badrika Kshetra. It seems he composed the Brahma Sutra Bhashya at this place, means Badrika Kshetra. On his return journey, he had debates with two eminent Pandits. They are Shobhana Bhatta and Shama Shastri. Who are they? Belonging to Advaita school. Mean debate between Dvaita and Advaita. Both of them became his disciples, taking up sannyasas. Mean they accepted the concept of philosophy of Dvaita. After his return to Udupi, Madhvacharya began to write various works establishing the new system of philosophy which came to be called Dvaita Siddhanta. And the cordial point which distinguishes this system from the others is the essential difference between Brahman, who is independent, and all else which are dependent. The Acharya founded the famous Sri Krishna temple at Udupi and so established 8 mathas. He had discovered the image of Sri Krishna which lay embedded in a huge lump of mud called Gopi Chandan. After washing it, he himself carried it to his monastery. It was during this procession that he composed out of divine inspiration the now well known Dvadashashtottara, mean Dvadasha Ashtottara on Lord Krishna. To enable the worship of Lord Krishna in the temple to run smoothly, he established these 8 mathas or monasteries round the temple and gave the responsibilities to his 8 mathas disciples to take care in turns. These 8 mathas, what are the matha? The name are which totally collectively called Ashtamathas. They are Adamaru, Kaniyuru, Krishnapura, Palimaru, Pejavara, Puttige, Siruyu, and so the months. Several disciples from various regions of the country got their initiation into sannyasa from Madhvacharya. Among them, the names of 8 disciples who chose to stay on in Udupi as the pontiffs, Pitadipatru antaru kada, of different matas are as under in the order of their initiation. Who are the 8? Let us see. Hrishikesha Tirtha, he was responsible for Palimaru Math. Narasimha Tirtha, Adamaru Math. Janardana Tirtha, Krishnapura Math. Upendra Tirtha, Patij Math, Puttige Math. Kamana Tirtha, Sirur Math. Vishnu Tirtha, Sode Math. Sri Rama Tirtha, Kaniyuru Math. Adokshacha Tirtha, Pejavar Math. The other 2 celebrated sannyasis, disciples of Acharyas, Desastha Matas. Who are they? Padmanabha Tirtha, Narahari Tirtha, their names. When Padmanabha Tirtha was initiated into sannyasa is not definitely known. There were several who had got initiation from him. It appears that he should not be initiated into the order, sometimes being the dates of the 8 pontiffs as were initiated into the order. The Acharya was now 70. Even at this stage, he returned all over the district and engaged himself in educating the public. He composed for the benefit of a good-natured Brahmin in Edapaditaya, in the village of Idaya or Idaya. The literary work Krishnamrita Maharanava. Then he went to Ujjire and exposed their spiritual aspect of ritualism in order to open the eyes of Brahmins who had faith in ultimacy of rituals. This discourse itself came to be still published later under the title of Khandardha Niyama. Next, he visited Panchalingeshwara temple at Paranti, which he found in a dilapidated condition without any worship or festivity. Then what he did know? He made arrangements for the resumption of the proper worship there according to the rituals prescribed by the ancient scriptures. The Acharya lifespan of 79 years was the 7th time, with his ceremony, with his activities. When Acharya thought that his life mission had been served, he put the responsibility of carrying on the tradition on his Tattvavada or philosophical thesis on the shoulders of his disciples. And he betook himself to Badri all alone without any thought of care. The day on which He thus proceeded to Badri. He was the person who illuminated the tradition of the Matha. Apart from these, there are four mats. What are they? In the Tulu region, especially Subramanya Mat, Bandarkeri Mat, Bhimana Kayatil Mat, and Chitrapura Mat. The Subramanya Mat has grown out of Vishnu Tirtha's line itself. It is said that the line of disciples under the pontiff Achyuta Prajna, who is in a third, was the guru to initiate the Acharya into sannyasa, Bandar Kirti, and other at the Bhima Nakatla. Finally, let us come to conclude with Acharya's works. The Acharya has written four works on the Sutra Prasthana itself. What are they? Brahma Sutra Bhashya, from the collection of Brahma Sutra. Sarva Sastra Sangraha. 3. Brahma Sutra Anuvyakyana. 4th. Bhagavad Gita Bhashya. 5th. Bhagavad Gita Tatparya Niyama. 6th. Brahma Sutra Anuvyakyana Nivarana. I think you might have understood the philosophy of Dvaita. Final touch. Two works are on the Gita Prasthana, Vedanta school of Bhagavad Gita. Thus, Madhvacharya brought Dvaita philosophy and gave various details. We are fortunate to have Madhvacharya as our God to bless us in various forms. Sriyakanthaya Kalyananidhi Dinam Sri Venkatanivasaaya Srinivasaaya Mangalam Mangalasasana Premadacharya Purogamai Sarvaisha Purvairacharya Satkrutaya Sumangalam.